Hello and welcome to yet another session of our series, which is called Reflections, where we share stories that recharge and rejuvenate us. And I'm very happy to welcome our guest speaker today, Mina Karawadra. Mina has been a meditator for over 21 years. She has been a member at the Global Retreat Center near Oxford for the last 14 years, and as an experienced Raj Yoga meditator and teacher, has also had the opportunity to help run various meditation centers in the UK. With a background in accountancy and currently qualified as a driving instructor, she continues to be fascinated by the simplicity and clarity that meditation can bring, even in stressful situations. Today, Mina will share the story about how she began her spiritual journey after having noticed positive changes in her parents after they had taken up the Raj Yoga meditation course. So let's listen to how that influenced her, and then how did a turning point come in her life. So a very warm welcome, Mina, and we are really looking forward to hearing your story. So over to you, and welcome once again.
Thank you, Lata, for lovely introduction. It's amazing to hear everyone's journey, and I feel honored to be able to share my own. As you've mentioned, that I actually got introduced to meditation through my parents. It was my father who had taken the Raj Yoga meditation course, and within about 2.5 to 3 weeks, what I noticed in him is that he became more respectful. Whenever we have any conversation, I found that he has an eye contact. He would allow us to finish our sentence or to share what we are feeling, and allowing us to express ourselves. Noticing that, I thought there's something happening. So that brought curiosity in my mind. This was the one reason. The other was that I noticed they're getting up so early and doing something early in the morning. So, and also connected to an organization which I wasn't sure and aware of. So as a teenager, I also wanted to make sure that they're doing okay. So this curiosity and the change had made me go to the meditation center to find out what exactly they were learning. And so I did the Raj Yoga meditation course, and I found it really fascinating and interesting, because a lot of questions that I had as teenager, especially if you're coming from a Hindu background, they were all answered for me, and it made sense. I think one of the best thing for me was that it's so logic and it makes sense, because I am a logical person. I need to see things practically and logically. So it all made sense, and I understood it. I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I had my own journey. I was a student, and the life was beautiful. And we've moved to the UK a couple of years before. So I was exploring new country, language, friends. And so that became quite a big part in my life. And spirituality was secondary for me. So as in when there was a need, I would meditate and take the advantage of being in that quiet space and learning. But it was not my priority at all. And, and it was only until I started to work full time as an accountant. And for a few years, I continued practicing meditation in between or whenever I have time. But at one point, I remember leaving my work completely and opening my own little company. So I opened my own accountancy firm and had a few clients to start with. And particularly one client I had who somehow didn't manage to do the accounting properly. So he was able to submit the returns that you have to do, but not really finalizing. And he asked me to do his accounts for the last 3 years. So I had a big box of a lot of invoices and receipts and paperwork. Those days, you wouldn't have everything online. It was mostly we used to do, we have receipts manually and then you would process on a spreadsheet. So he just dropped these boxes, and as I was processing the expenses, I started to notice where he was spending his money, and most of that was just having coffee and breakfast and lunches. So it was meals and travel, but so much that I started to think this person needs financial advice more than his accounts, because he really doesn't know how to manage his finance the way he's spending. Um, Usually, coffees in big 5-star hotels or very expensive restaurants. And so I'm having these thoughts as I was processing all his income, his expenses. And then by the time I finish the expenses and when it comes to the turn for income to process, I noticed that most of his invoices, because he was a financial consultant, it was 1,100, 1,200 pounds, 1,300 pounds. So basically his work was that he would have a meeting with corporate businesses, directors, and in that meeting, he advised how the finance work for that company and what they can do. And so, he's charging quite a big amount. And according to that, his expenses of spending even 50 pounds sometimes on coffee and little breakfast was not so much when I started to see how much he was earning. And I clearly remember looking at his income and thinking, actually, it's not a lot what he's spending, because that's probably the right way to do when you're meeting some people. You have to be in certain space. And so my whole thinking of this person needs advice on how to spend changed to actually he knows what he's doing. And also that when there's a flow of income, the expenses doesn't look much or bad. And a moment I just stopped processing that and reflect on my own journey and thinking, how does that affect spiritually? Because this was a physical example of the finance, of the expenses there are and the income. But spiritually, I just started to think that my current situation or my current life is a one where I felt I had everything. Now I had a good job, or I've now started to build up a company. I have good parents, I have good friends, pretty okay body. And so on all level, I felt everything that one needs on a physical level, mentally, spiritually, I was happy. But if this current situation is being happy because somewhere I have the understanding of the philosophy of karma, so I felt that there's somewhere I must have performed good karma, that my current situation is a result of the accumulation of that good karma, or the accumulation of that income that I've been earning. But what am I doing right now to continue the happiness, continuing in the way I'm living all the time? And it really made me think deeper and reflect on my journey, because at that moment I wasn't spiritually doing much. I was more interested in the world, and like anyone else, you expand in your career or your business and everything else. But what about something internally, something deeper, something meaningful and purposeful? And so that was for me a turning point where I started to realize that for me, karma was one of the aspects that is so powerful, and it's something that carries all the time with you, whether you believe in reincarnation or not. But what we keep with us, or what we take with us, is our karma, be it positive or negative. And so I started to think about it. What are the good karmas that one can perform? And how do that work? So this whole thing about karma became a place for me to start my spiritual journey. So I started to more thinking, just day-to-day life, how you can be so kind to people, being patient, respectful, loving. That was in the behavior. But then I also started to realize that there's much more than just changing one's life, but how can we become an instrument to help others to bring the same happiness and peaceful that I was feeling in my life? And so this is where I decided that why don't I be with a community or group of people who are already practicing such a high level of meditation or a lifestyle, that they're not only empowering themselves or accumulating that good karma or that flow of income, but at the same time they're helping other people to also find their own path and their own way. So in 2008, I decided to take some time off, even from that work and my day-to-day life, to be in an environment where I can see myself feeling and I can see myself radiating and sharing with others. So initially it was 6 months that I decided to practice something, but I've really been enjoying so much. And I feel that this is definitely, there is that flow of energy that we can fill ourselves on a regular basis through meditation, and that then enable us to share with others and to help others to guide in their own journey. So that's a little story of my journey.
Firstly, I think thank you for sharing that wonderful experience, and congratulations on your good karma that client came to you in the first place, because that was a trigger for you to start thinking that how much balance of good karma do I have so that I can sustain or continue on, the happiness and the good life.
Yeah, sometimes, people feel that if everything is okay in their life, then they don't have to do much. I even have sometimes comment like, for me, this is heaven, so I don't have to do anything. But for me, it was the opposite, that actually everything was okay, but I needed to continue having the same happiness and contentment in life.
And do you think if that client wouldn't have come and that incident wouldn't have happened, do you think it would have taken a long time for you to bring some change or get that realization?
Maybe, but I remembered leaving my job and creating my own company. It was in a way definitely taking me into the place where I would have been more focused on building up my career and building up my company. But I also remembered there were times where I just knew that focusing so much on earning the physical money cannot be a purpose of life. I just felt that life shouldn't be where you just work so much every day, 5 days a week, until you're retired, which is 65 in the UK or 60. And then when you're actually retired, you would start to think about what spirituality is or connect with higher source, when actually you might have filled with so many ups and downs in life and challenges and difficulties that by then the mind, I don't know how stable and focused can be. So internally somewhere I knew that this process has to start as early as possible, where you can still carry on working and building your future, but at the same time there should be some parallel enriching the inner self, empowering the inner self, learning about the inner self, and understanding how we really work, or who am I? I mean, that's a big question in itself.
And I'm sure as you started practicing meditation more with this focus of accumulating a good income in the spiritual sense, you might have had various experiences that kind of proved that you are on the right track. And yes, this is what I wanted. Like, the inner feeling that, yes, something's right, I'm in the right direction.
Yes, in any journey, it's always good to assess and check that I am in the right path for this life, this birth. For me, checking has been that the time I take to, for example, if I am impatient or I have been impatient, and then through meditation practices, how that has been changed. Or if somebody's been angry in their life generally or irritates with things, how that has improved. Does it take the same time to react, or now I can take a bit longer, or I might be able to respond better? So in my journey, the checking point has been, I remember one of the particular thing is I have been very sensitive in the past. Things can get into me quite quickly, or I take sorrow easily. But then in my journey, I have learned that many things now don't bother me or influence me as much as it did in the past. I am still working on certain things, because sometimes some situations or people can still press your button, but generally I have started to notice that I'm less influenced by external event and people and situations. So when we start to learn ourselves and we find certain weaknesses within us, this would be the checking point of knowing that if I am filling myself with power, with energy, with virtues, can I use that when I need them? Because we all have knowledge or understanding of what I need to do, but many times this comes later on, or what you need to do, but you don't have the same strength to actually apply that in that situation. And what I also enjoy about Raj Yoga meditation is that it's so practical and that you can use it in your daily life. Currently, as a driving instructor, I do find it a lot of challenges working with teenagers. Some are very nervous students and some love to take risk. So you have to be so careful and alert all the time. It's one of the job that you have to pay attention all the time. I was thinking, I have the differences between working in the office as an accountant. You can get up, have your cup of tea, you can answer messages, you could do so many things in between. But when you're in the car teaching somebody how to drive, you cannot even look at the beautiful scene that's passing by, because you have to constantly focus what's happening ahead. So for that first 2 hours that I am with somebody, my attention has to be so much. And it's really helping me. But at the same time, I also am learning to see that how, any challenges come, somebody making the same mistake again and again, you've been teaching them for a while and they're still not learning. Can I still be so, loving towards them and still be positive towards them? Because if I can get angry, it's not going to help them. They become more nervous and they probably make more mistakes. So all the things that I learn in meditation and practice, I can see how I've been using them in my work.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So putting meditation and that power into practice and seeing how it impacts and how it helps. That's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Sister Mina. And as you mentioned, that meditation has helped you. So it would be wonderful if you could lead us through a meditation journey for a few minutes so our viewers can have that experience as well.
Certainly. So this practice that I'm going to share is the Raja Yoga meditation. We are all aware of the self, the soul, and it's the soul consciousness that I would like to guide you all into. So wherever you're sitting, sit comfortably and relaxed. And take a moment to just come back to the present moment. Take a deep breath. And relax your body. Start with your feet and scan your body from your feet all the way to the top of your head. Letting go of any stiffness or tightness. And allow yourself to settle in the place you are sitting, completely relaxed. And bring your attention to your forehead, the central of the forehead where the soul, the living light, reside. Become aware of the inner being. A thinking, feeling, being. Become aware of your thoughts, Just observe them. Let them flow like a freeway traffic. Just allow them to come and move on. Allow all your thoughts to fade into the background and create a simple thought that I am a being of peace. This thought starts to fill your mind with peaceful energy. Slowly start to radiate your entire being and all around you is filled with peaceful energy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for leading us into that beautiful experience. And I'm sure if we continue with such practice on a regular basis, we will have many more wonderful turning points in our lives. So, heartfelt thank you once again for sharing your story with us and your spiritual wisdom. It was really enlightening. And I'm sure our viewers have enjoyed as well, and it has inspired to bring a turning point into their lives. And if you would like to know more about the Brahma Kumaris, please do visit our website, which is www.brahmakumaris.org.au, and it's up on the screen right now if you would like to take a note. All our various events and programs are available on this website. So thank you once again for joining in today, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks with another interesting story. Till then, take care, keep meditating. Om Shanti.